Good evening.
Yep.
It's
Good evening, lunatics.
Monday night from Hurricane, West Virginia.
It's a Monday night edition of the
Monday
podcast
night.
because what were we doing? Oh, you were.
I was in. Listen, I've had 2 long weekends. I need
Yeah.
to. I need to bring you all up to speed. Okay.
Yeah.
So this past weekend, I was in Henderson, Kentucky, at a blues barbecue, and I added a third B because I brought my own bourbon festival Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and it was amazing. It was amazing. I'm here. I'm getting cut. I'm cutting out.
Uh-oh.
I
That's not good.
lost audio.
Oh, it's our.
Are we good now?
Yeah, we're good.
So it's right on the Ohio River. I posted it. Did you see my picture I posted on Facebook?
I think so.
My sunset picture. Yeah, I put that up there, let people see it. But I couldn't help being a photographer, so I did some photography work and sat there and enjoyed the weekend. It was wonderful. Weather was perfect. I can't touch that wire. That wire's what the problem is.
Yeah, don't mess with it.
I'm not touching it. So anyway, and the weekend before that, my
Nope, it's your cord or something. Try it again.
my son and I and a couple of his friends, our friends, we went to Vegas for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Kind of a pre-Father's Day weekend in Vegas. Played golf, gambled a little bit, drank a little bit. Just had a good time. So I've been out of the loop for almost 2 full weeks now. So I'm kind of catching up. Hope you guys had a good time with the supplemental host. What do you call them? Substitute hosts.
Yeah.
Did you have one or two? Did you have one both weekends?
No.
Oh, this weekend we didn't do it. We're doing
Here,
it now.
I got you a new cable. Plug that in.
You think it's my?
I think it is.
Okay. All right.
You
Stand
probably
by.
want to go around.
Stand by one.
Probably want to go around that. There you go. I'll
Will you add lib for me?
I'll fill time while you're fixing that. I mean, you listen.
Am I back?
You're back.
All right.
You
Sorry about that,
know,
guys.
we can't have a podcast in the hotel without having some kind of electrical gremlin of some sort.
We have electrical gremlin no matter where we are, a hotel or wherever.
Right.
But anyway, so I'm glad to be back. I'm kind of out of the loop though. I'm trying to find trucking news to talk about. I'm sure you guys will come up with some stuff. But one of the things we want to talk about is it's time to start getting serious about the event. So mark your calendars. Chris, this would be a good time for the producer to put the overlay on. Mark your calendars for August the 19th and 20th. You guys need to come to Hurricane and spend the weekend with us. And we're going to go through all the things that we teach about how to keep your cost per mile down, your fuel costs down, maintenance costs down. Chris is going to go over how he plans loads and selects loads and keeps our income up. And we're going to teach anybody who wants to come the ways of the lunatics, even if you don't have a lunatic truck. Okay, we won't make fun of you, and there might be some things we can do to help you. So, support. It's sponsored by our sponsor, Pittsburgh Power, and we're going to have Rocky from North Florida MD Alignment Shop here, checking your suspensions, doing alignments if you need it, want to have it done. Get a hold of us in advance. We can set you up an appointment with him. He's going to start.
I'm actually talked to Rocky about that this week. I am going to put a link on the event page where you can kind of register so we know who wants, because Rocky may come up early.
Right.
Depending on the demand, he may come up maybe on Wednesday or Thursday to be here. We've talked to Chris Dolan about bringing his shop trucks down here. If we do need to do repairs and stuff, then we could possibly open that up on Wednesday or Thursday. And then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, the event will be Saturday and Sunday. So we can get all that kind of stuff done for you.
We're going to have some special guests. I think we've confirmed Boogie, have we?
We have.
So Larry Cothran, what's he called?
Boogie?
El Boogie.
Larry Cothran.
He's going to be here that weekend. Anika is looking at her calendar. She's agreed to come. She's checking her calendar, make sure she's good. But that's gonna be a hoot having her here. And then we got some other things I'm still working on. I'm waiting on a commit from Steve Cron, the guy who gets 11 miles per gallon out of an international. Okay,
2001
international, lifetime, like low tens. So and he's got some aerodynamic products that he uses and how he wants to show too. So we got some other things we're working on. We still got a little time. August 19th, 20th. If you register between now and July 1, which is only 2 weeks away, it's $100 off. There's a code you use. What is it, Chris? Reset 2023.
I think so. I'll have to look at it.
There's a code put in there. It gives you $100 off. You do have to hit a link and go to the hotel and get your hotel separately from that. The hotel also is $10 off if you register before July 1st. I think it's $99.
It's code lunatic.
Code lunatic
to get your $100 off their early bird special. I tell you, listen, the fact that July 1 is 2 weeks away is
I know.
It's hurting. It's hurting me.
I understand. And June has just been killer, man. And then I'm gone the whole first week of July. You remember that, right? So I mean, it's this summer is just crazy. So anyway, John, we look forward to signing up tonight. Welcome, glad to see you. There is truck parking here at the hotel. There's going to be a place on the registration for you to indicate that you need truck parking, so we make sure we have it for you. Excuse me. And I just noticed tonight, I walked across the parking lot to get a hot dog. By the way, there's a great hot dog place right across the street. Okay, there is a pet grooming shop and kennel in the parking lot here. So if you've got pets and you want to not have to fool with them all weekend, the hotel is pet friendly, by the way, but the conference center would not be. So if you need a place to put a pet, there's one right in the parking lot here. So I didn't even know that till tonight. So anyway, we certainly love to have you. We're gonna pull the curtain back and we're gonna show you everything that we do, everything I've been doing since 2009. The things that have kept us profitable for all these years, kept our cost of business low. We're just going to show it to you all. We'll answer your questions. You can ask anything you want to. The only thing you can't ask is Chris's IQ. His head just gets so big. I can't put up with that. So don't go there, okay? But anything other than that, we'll answer it for you. It's going to be a great networking weekend. Friday night, we're going to have the podcast will be live from the lobby here, and the bar's going to be open there. And Nick's coming in, our special lunatic bartenders coming in for the night. And we're going to have a little reception here on Friday night. Saturday night, we're going to leave it open for networking. You guys want to work out in the parking lot and work on trucks up there at the show, that's fine. Come back to the hotel. We'll drink beer, tell stories, and lie. Whatever you want to do, and then we'll wrap it up Sunday about 5 o'clock.
So a little programming, little production note here. I've noticed that you have moved out of the TikTok shot.
Have I now?
Yeah.
Well, I like where I'm sitting. Can we move the TikTok shot?
No.
God, come on.
I told you before. I said, "Hey, I want you to get right there," and I had you.
Damn, I don't like
where they could see you.
Why don't you make it go landscape?
Because I can't, because it don't work that way.
All right. Well, here I am. Okay. So, hi TikTokers, y'all making me sit up. I was really comfortable. Now my head is bigger than my screen. I got to fix that again. Damn. Things I go through for you guys. All right. So we'll talk about that some more. We got some pictures. Do we have pictures on the website from last year?
Yes. Yeah, they're on the event page. There's pictures from.
Look on our event page on our website. There's pictures there from last year. You can see kind of what.
BlueRibbonLogistics.com/events, and it's right there.
Right. All right.
Well, this past week I've turned a lot of wrenches, working on trucks, trying to get stuff going. Also, on Friday, I went and purchased back my natural human right to the freedom of travel and movement and commerce for another 5 years. So that made me feel good. It made me want to go, pledge allegiance to the flag that I bought my freedom back.
I think he's talking about getting the CDL renewed.
I did, Listen, hey, America, I want you to rest assured.
Praise God. You got to see him.
I passed a 24-question test and paid a fee. I am now.
You're a citizen.
I'm safe. I am certified.
Hey.
I'm ready to go.
Hey, did you see where Joe Biden said God save the Queen this week? God save the Queen, man.
I saw, it was Elon Musk on Twitter. Somebody had tweeted something from the presidential account, and he was like, please give him the password to this account. We beg you, please do.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it's been, y'all, I'm running on about a half a tank right now because I got home at 3:00 this morning. One of the trucks broke down up in Morgantown, and I had to tow a truck up there and bring his back. And so I got about 3 hours of sleep and a 2-hour nap today. So I'm struggling. I'm so ready for bed right now. So
what? I just lost our live
what?
I lost our live feed
on TikTok.
Yeah. How do I do that? How did I get that back? There we go. I'm back.
Okay.
I'm trying to watch the. I'm gonna have to join now.
So I was thinking this week about how here we are. It's 6 months. 6 months have gone by since we sat in this room and rebuilt our entire program. And obviously that's worked because starting tomorrow, we're going to have 11 trucks seated. We've never had, we've had 11 trucks in the fleet before, but we've never had all of them seated at the same time. We have the absolute best crew that we've ever had.
No question.
By far. And just a note for everybody, we have at least 2 trucks, maybe 3, but 2 for sure. That we have done nothing to these trucks except change the driver, and the fuel mileage has gone up 1 full mile per gallon. So don't tell me that the driver don't have anything to do with fuel mileage, because one truck's been in the fleet since November of 2020. The other one has been in since the middle of 2019. And the lifetime average on those trucks was both in the 6s. And now only by changing the driver, they've gone up 1 full mile per gallon. Now, if you will get out, the BSC 9000 is laying around here somewhere. But if you'll get out your own personal BSC 9000 and do some calculations about what 1 mile per gallon does over 120,000 miles, it is significant.
If you don't know how to do that, I'll teach that to you in August. Okay. I can give you a chart. So it is. It makes a big difference. And we had 2 trucks this weekend that broke 8.
Yep.
So, and we had all of our trucks except 2 were 7 plus. Mm-hmm. And one of those, there was an issue with one of them. I don't remember what it was now. That wasn't the truck that broke down. What do you mean? That wasn't the truck, roofing truck. I don't know. I don't understand. Is it a good idea or bad idea to buy a lunatic truck? No, absolutely, it's a good idea. Auction truck. Most of the trucks I bought earlier on were auction trucks. You know?
Well, here's the thing that, me personally, probably would not go to an auction just because I don't have any experience with it. Right now, if I could go to an auction and I can get a lunatic truck for less than $10,000, it's not really going to matter where or how you got it. And we just got an email yesterday from a guy showing us a Facebook ad for a truck that was $8,000, and part of what I've been doing over the last couple of weeks, I've been shooting a lot of video. And now I'm learning, like Cletus McFarland said, everybody wants to be a YouTuber until it's time to edit, because holy crap. Yeah. I got a shitload of footage to go through and edit down. But I'm doing a rehab right now on is it an 02 or 03? I think it's an 02.
Yeah, 02 it is. It's
an 02 we got for $10,000. I have basically taken the interior out of it. I've cleaned the carpet. The whole dash was destroyed. It had a bunch of redneck hillbilly wiring. I'm fixing all of that. And then we're going to do a transmission rear end swap from a wrecked truck that we have. And so I think that truck's going to be ready to go on the road in a couple of weeks. And And what I'd really like to do, I don't know how practical it is, but it's, one thing you'll learn about entrepreneurs and business people is we have 1,000 ideas every day. Most of them suck. I would love to do this rehab series on YouTube of showing you what I've done to it, and then follow the truck and give you reports on it every week as it goes and runs. I think that would be cool. I don't know what all would be really entailed in that, but here's a truck we got for 10 grand. It runs. It just needs some TLC. A lot of it just needs cleaned, the interior was a disaster. And just,
well, to go back to your question, as long as you're not paying, retail price for it at an auction, we had one of our guys find a truck up in New England that all the specs were right. And what do they want for it? That driving school? It's like,
like 14.
Yeah. So, and I mean, that's one of the ones where it doesn't even matter. You write the check, go get it, because there's what's the downside,
Right.
I mean, the parts on it are worth more than that. So, but you're not going to go to an auction and spend 25 or 30 grand for a lunatic truck. No, because you don't have any way of checking it out. But if you're going to go there and get the bones of a lunatic truck, or it's got the spec properly, and it's got a halfway shot of being, for real, absolutely, I'd pick it up. I'd grab it and go, because for one thing, these trucks are getting harder and harder to find. So,
and you have to remember that when you pay $10,000 for a truck, if it runs and the frame is not broken, you can put that truck in service, run it probably 90 days, and you're clear. So if it burned to the ground, you're out nothing. Now, like this guy, we saw a Facebook post this week in a Landstar group where the guy was talking about having a $6,000 a month truck payment, just a truck. Because I went through, there's 125 comments on that thread, and the most frequently asked question is like, wait a minute, is that for like the truck and the trailer? He's like, no, that's just the truck. $6,000 a month. $1,500 a week plus insurance is probably going to be.
That didn't even make sense in 2021.
No,
that's just absolutely.
When you sign up for that, you're a slave to that truck payment, and
among other things.
Yeah,
slave's probably the easiest word I'd use for that.
Where when we can take a truck and lease it to Landstar, and it costs less than $200 a week to sit. It can sit for a week and not haul freight, and you're out a couple $100. But if you have a $6,000 truck payment, by the time you pay that same $200 that we would pay plus your insurance payment, well, you're going to have a $2,000 a week. If you don't move that truck, it's going to cost you $2,000 for it to sit there. That's unsustainable.
And why? I mean, what are you getting for $6,000 a month that someone else doesn't get for $1,000 a month? Or nothing. Paid for a truck. And what do you get? I mean, it's a status symbol. Is all it is. It's nothing more than a status symbol. That's where you identify with whatever that truck is, and that's what broke people do. You don't see wealthy people driving fancy new cars. That's what people who act like they're wealthy do, and they're really broke on a different level. Mm-hmm. Wealthy people keep their money in the bank and certainly don't invest it in things that depreciate. And anything that's got wheels on it depreciates. Okay, so nuts completely. That is not a business decision. That's stupidity. That's somebody trying to impress somebody that they probably don't like anyway. So
yeah. And it's, I mean,
there's no way you can take that calculator and make any sense out of that one. That decision is not supportable, period. Any which way you look at it. Even in 2021, you couldn't support that decision. Why? Because maybe you could have made the payment, but look at where are we now? Mm-hmm. You couldn't save any money because you spend it on the truck. So now you don't have any savings. Now you can't make the payment. You haven't got any savings.
Well, and I'm
part of doing this is you got to do it all the time. Everybody's coming around now. Everywhere I read now, ATBS, everybody's talking about knowing your cost per mile, cutting your cost per mile. Like that's the thing to do now. Well, that was the thing to have done back in 2021 too. And had you done that, you would have money in the bank right now. It's great to do it now, but don't not do it now that when things get back to quote normal. Don't go back to your stupid ways and wasting money and giving all your money to the fuel stocks and to these truck payments instead of putting it in the bank. Business is in business for one thing and one thing only. That's to make a profit. And both of those are anti-truck payments and fuel in this industry. So
if you go on the averages, which I just got out the SC 9000, right? And so our goal every week is $8,000. So that means the truck would be 5,760. If I multiply that times 4.3 to get a month, that's $24,768. And if I do 85% of that, which is, last year we did about 85% of our goal, that's $21,052 a month to the truck in that the truck is earning. So let's just call it 20 grand. 6,000 is 30% of your revenue going to the truck payment. And that's if you do it the way we do it. Now, this guy was talking about low settlements, so he probably doesn't know how to get the maximum revenue. I know we can do 20 grand a month. No question, right? If the truck's running full time, it's going to make $20,000 in a month. What if he's only doing 12 or 15? Because he doesn't know how to run consistently, doesn't know how to pick the right freight, doesn't know how to pick the right lanes. And what if it's 50 or 60% of his revenues going to a truck payment? I mean, 30% is insane, and that would be the way we're doing it. We don't have 30% margins to spend on a truck payment. We have good margins. We're profitable. We're not as profitable as we were in 2021 or 22, but hell, nobody is. But the point is, we're still profitable with paid for trucks. It's just it's crazy. And there was one line in there that he was like, "Well, I'm gonna find my happiness in these loads." No, you're not. You're what you're gonna find is bankruptcy. That's what you're gonna find. And that's why we do this. That's why we do this program, to give people an opportunity to see that what I call is propaganda. Oh, well, you've got to lease a truck. You've got to have a new truck. You have to do this. You have to do that. Who benefits? Who benefits from all that? When they tell you, no, you have to have a new truck. You have to have a warranty. You have to have this. Who benefits from that? It's not you. It's not the independent business owner. It's not the small business owner. It's banks and corporations and leasing companies. They're the ones that benefit from that. They're taking advantage of that ignorance, not understanding how the market works. And it's turning people into indentured servants. And this industry is. What are you laughing at?
I'm reading it, John Stewart.
Call and ask for the sleep line real quick. Yeah. You just have to understand that business, there's not really any emotion in business. The minute you start bringing emotion into business is when you start getting in trouble. Because it's just the facts. You have to do the math every single time, every day. You have to account for everything that you do. And that is our biggest struggle, is bringing people that are company drivers that have an employee mentality and trying to beat that out of them and get them to understand that it's just math. You just do the math, and whatever the math says is what you do. You know, it's really that simple. Um, oh, here's one on TikTok you'll have fun with. User 296-805-609-0662. If you want a new truck, stop, save, and write a check. I'm with you, and only for tax reasons.
Where's this at? Where's this
It's
going?
on TikTok.
If you want a new truck, stop, save, and write a check. Oh, yeah, well,
I'm with you to write a check.
for tax reasons.
I'm not with you on, because all you're doing is trading dollars for quarters.
Yeah, the tax reason is a supplemental benefit if you need the equipment. It's not a reason to buy equipment that you don't need, because you're really only going to get the value of the percentage of what your tax bracket is all you're saving. So you're spending $100 to save 22. You know.
Yeah,
and you know, that's a whole different argument we could talk about.
Well, and it would be one thing if it was 20 years ago, which was say 2004. Well, 21. Let's go back to 2003. People could make the argument, because you could buy a 2003 model, and as we've proven, run it for millions of miles. You know, so you could have written a check for probably 80 grand, 85 grand, and bought a brand new truck if you would have paid for it, and still be operating it 21 years later, because we've got a got a 99, we've got an 04, we've got a couple 07s, an 05, and 06. Here's another question from TikTok. Justin says, how do you stay away from paying $30,000 in taxes with paid off equipment?
If your profit margin calls for you to pay $30,000 taxes, you don't. If you make a profit, you have to pay tax. You can't avoid paying taxes by spending money. That doesn't do it. That doesn't make you money. It lets you handle money, and then you turn right around and spend it to someone else. That doesn't put money in your pocket. If you're in this country, if you're going to make a profit, you have to pay taxes. That's part of doing business. That's a big problem 1099 guys have, is they don't save any money to pay their taxes with, because they think it's all theirs, and then they don't have money to pay for it. And then a year goes by, and 2 years goes by, and 3 years goes by, and all of a sudden now they're in trouble with the IRS. You can't avoid paying tax. People who are in business legitimately pay taxes. There's no way of avoiding that legally in this country. I don't care. There's not enough tax loopholes. You don't have your little truck stop accountant that can work a little thing. That just does not. It's not true. That's not true. Absolutely not true. If you make a profit, you have to pay taxes. Now, you can do things to minimize that, and everybody in business does that by taking legitimate deductions. But spending money just to save taxes is not a good strategy.
And it's not saving money.
And it's not making you money or saving you money. You're just handling money you're spending.
It's giving the truck dealership $1 to keep from giving the government 25 cents.
Exactly, or less. My dad's sharing the 25% tax bracket. So
it's well, and the other thing is you have to calculate for the risk. Okay, you're a single truck owner operator. Let's take fleets out of it for a second. You're a single truck owner operator. You have, let's say you've saved up some money and you've put a down payment on your truck, and you've got what we'll call a reasonable truck payment, however somebody describes that. And you go to get out of your truck and you slip and you break your ankle. Now what you going to do? Because now you have a risk of a note that you have to pay, and you don't have a driver because you are the driver. How are you going to survive? You know, and if you're this guy that's got the, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month truck payment, unless you have savings, but let's be honest, this is America in 2023. Ain't nobody got any savings, period. The savings estimates and statistics in this country are absolutely abysmal. Most people can't make it 7 days. If their income stopped for 7 days, they're done. They're done. So how can you not at least acknowledge that risk? Not even mentioning the risk that comes with operating a truck built after 2007. Is there risk in running a 1999 model truck? Yeah, sure there is. But to pretend that there's zero risk in running a 2024, at least with the 99, if it quits, I can fix it probably in a 10-hour break.
Luke. Yeah, I got to show you.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Y'all have to know Luke. Luke is not a Native American, okay? Luke, this is a really, really easy question. Answer. Because they don't have any money to save. They spend everything they get. We're a immediate gratification culture here, okay? No one saves so they can afford something. They put it on a credit card. And so all the interest that they pay every month and all their life robs them of their wealth. People are not wealthy in this country. People don't even have savings in this country because they have to have things now and they can't afford it. So they charge it. They get credit. They use credit cards, whatever. And the interest rate is destroying their ability to grow wealth.
Well, somebody's making the interest. It's just not you.
Well, yeah, that's why the banks have those big tall buildings and people don't. Mm-hmm. Is because they understand the value of money. People they want the item worse than they want their own security. And they're willing to trade the two for each other because they got to have it now. Because they got to have that $6,000 a month truck payment because I've got to impress somebody, okay, with what I drive. Not that it makes me any money, because it won't. Mm-mm. Not that it matters to the customer, because it doesn't.
They couldn't care less.
It only matters to the idiot that spent the money for it and the dealership that took his money. Okay? Now, the next question is like, well, it ought to be illegal for people to do that. No, we're a free society. You have every right to make poor decisions.
Stupid is not illegal.
The government should not keep you from making bad decisions. Okay, that comes down to education. And if you rely on the government for that, that's another stupid decision. Okay, so, but it's sad, Luke. When every time I talk here to our guys, I always talk about making and saving money because they go hand in hand. There's no reason to make money if you don't keep any of it. You have to save money. And if you start early, it doesn't take a whole lot to be wealthy. The problem is if you wait till you're 55, listen, I have guys show up in this program that are in their 60s, can't rub two nickels together. And they wake up and they go, oh shit, I'm at retirement age and I have no money to retire. Let me go out here and do something different all of a sudden to make up for it. Except they don't do anything different. They come here and they say they're going to do something different, but then they do the same shit they did before they came. And they're hard-headed about it. Want to tell me why it's better than what they want. They come here and want to tell me to do things their way. And I'm going, wait a minute. I've got money and you don't, and you want me to do it your way? How's that work? So anyway. Now Richard, I generalize a lot. Y'all know that. Okay. I like to rub salt in the wounds for a reason. It's for effect. There's lots of people out there that are very good stewards of money. There's not very much of them. Okay, there are not very many of them, and they're all called nerds. They're not normal people. They're people that everybody else makes fun of. So
I'll tell you the people that I hate the most is when you listen to Dave Ramsey and they do the debt-free screens, and the ones that really make me mad are here. He'll be like, "How much money did you pay off?" And they're like, "We paid off $600,000." And he's like, "What was your household income?" $27,000. I'm like, y'all shut up. Okay, yeah. I hate y'all.
Yeah.
We fed our kids pieces of bologna, and I hate it, but
the thing. Here's the thing that we see a lot of. People get into owner-operator world. I use this example a lot in our orientations in our program here, but people look at buying a truck in this industry as being 13th grade. By that, what I mean is everybody goes to school for 12 grades. And then some people just automatically go to college because it's the next thing to do.
Mhm.
Not that they want to do it, not that they have any idea what they're going to do, but it's the next thing. And I think a lot of truck ownership is 13th grade. You know, number one, they hate what they're doing so badly that they think that if they were the ones that own the truck, they could change everything and make their job now bearable.
Mhm.
What they don't understand is all the things that they have to change are all the people that they hate now. You know, they have to become that person to be successful. So they just do this as the next step. They have no clue that making that next step involves opening a business, just like a brick and mortar business, just like opening up a restaurant. You know, buying that truck opens the door, opens a restaurant. And if you have no business background, if you have no business acumen, if you don't understand that making a profit requires you to pay taxes, you've got no business doing that. You know, and our industry allows you with no credit, no experience, really, no ownership experience, come in and do a predatory lease purchase for a reason, and let you make that stupid mistake because they've got rolling collateral. They turn right around, take back from you, and release it to somebody else and keep all your money.
Mhm.
You know, it's predatory for a reason because you're a bad risk. You know, 90% of people who do these fail. Well, guess what? Those trucks don't go away. They're brought in, they're released, and they do it all over again. In the meantime, they kept all your money. I mean, if you look at it from a business situation, you realize how stupid it is. But they're taking advantage of people who are desperate because they hate their job so bad that they're willing to sign a piece of paper and get a $6,000 a month truck payment to keep from being a company driver being told what to do because now you're the boss. Except, let me ask you, boss, how many weeks can you stay home with a $6,000 a month truck payment? Oh, I thought you were in charge. I thought you made the decision. Oh, you don't? I see. Huh. Why did you do it then? So anyway,
Well, it goes to that question. Anytime somebody submits an application and we look at it and we're like, okay, we'll extend an invitation to do a Zoom interview. And without fail, and about 75% of those will ask the question. Well, in every interview, we ask the question, why do you want to be in business? And about 75% of the time, we get the answer, well, freedom. To which I respond, from what?
yeah.
Because there's freedom from something and there's freedom to something. There's freedom to do something. There's freedom from something. And most people don't understand that starting a business it's life altering, you know, and when the phone, you know, in our case, when the phone rings at 3:00 yesterday, hey, I'm broke down. Okay. I sent somebody out there. They couldn't do anything with it. And at 3:30,
Well, since they're out there and they're diagnosing exactly the wrong thing,
right.
You know.
But we think at this point it's probably a fuel pump.
But they want to put a turbo on it because turbo would keep the truck from starting.
Yeah.
You know.
So at 3:30, I left and I borrowed a truck. I hooked up the toter. I drove 3 hours up there. I took him a truck. I brought his truck back. I crawled in the door at 3:00 this morning, and it had to be done. What alternative was there other than calling somebody else to come out there and tell us we needed a turbo
and lose the load? Okay, I mean we made the decision to buy this toter for this very reason right here. Okay, we can keep this in our control. Chris took a truck to him, let him put the load on the truck he took him, and continue on. We brought the truck back here. Now we're fixing the truck. He's coming back here tomorrow to pick it up. So I mean, we continue to serve our customer. The agent didn't have to know anything happened because we're going to deliver on time. You know, we solved all of our own problems. That's what makes us so good. I'm not bragging, but that's what we do. That's what we before we made this decision. He called me. We went through all the options here. What we're going to do here are the options, guys. Okay, and we just independently we can just stumble on the same idea. Here's the thing of it. Here's what we do. No.
Now, what you can do is try to cede that authority and decision making to someone else. We could,
especially somebody that's got certificates on the wall,
right?
Okay,
but what really you could do, and this is what a lot of people do. Well, I'm broke down. All right, call Landstar. Hey, Landstorm broke down. Okay, well, they've got a repower department, and they'll send somebody eventually. Because here, the Landstar can't call a BCO and say, hey, I demand you go pick up this broke down load. No, they have to get someone, they have to find someone, and then, of course, you're paying that bill, and they'll find somebody eventually, and somebody will come and get the load, and they'll probably come without a trailer, and now you're stuck without a trailer. And at every step there, the more that you depend on someone else to solve your problem, the less control you have of the outcome. And so, we did this one to get the truck back in to get the truck fixed, because I knew sitting in the damn way station in Brewston Mills, West Virginia, wasn't going to get fixed. I got it back in my control. I got it back to my shop. I put another truck under the load. We didn't lose the load. And now the agents are happy. And I guess Landstar's happy. They don't even probably know until now. Hey, Landstar. We fixed it, by the way, so you're welcome. But if you the more that you let go of your control of the situation, the more money it's going to cost you. Your number one fan here on TikTok says, got to work on your own stuff. Gets expensive at $200 an hour. Larry and I had this conversation yesterday because I've done a lot of work on trucks here in the last couple of weeks. And it got me to thinking about, this video series that I'm doing that I'm going to eventually release, maybe by the year 2026.
We're putting him up for an Oscar first. Okay, we're holding it back to what's that festival? Cannes. We're gonna put out a Cannes festival.
Yeah.
So
I want to show that there's a lot of this stuff that you can do on your own, right? You just need some basic tools, right?
Yeah.
But you have to put a value on your labor. And this is where we get into it with a lot of people that run their own authority, because from this side of the table, I'm looking at them saying, okay, but how much time are you putting into things that you are not assigning a value to? Because our billing budget is zero. Our collection budget is zero. Our insurance cost is zero. Our trailer cost is zero. Okay. By the way, Phil, I've spent probably 2 weeks working on Phil's truck. I don't have to buy beer at least for another 36 to 42 months. So just saying. But you have to put a value in time. Yes, you can do something for free, meaning you don't have to pay somebody else to do it. But your time still has a value. And I mean, my time's valuable. I like doing stuff that's not associated with trucks. I like, going and doing stuff.
Well, and look, I mean, I've got a little background in the auto mechanic side, so but Chris doesn't have any mechanic background. We've learned collectively over the years how to do all this stuff, because I'll tell you why. Because when we get shit worked on, we don't go to the restaurant and leave the truck in the shop. Okay, we watch them. We ask questions. Mm-hmm. I can't tell how many drivers we have here that don't know. They don't ship from China. They can't tell you a shock absorber from a headlight. And then they get a chance to watch somebody learn something. And where they at? They're in the bunk of sleep, or they're in a, we search, we seek. I mean, look, he used to watch Carl all the time. I mean, and so we've learned how to do all this stuff. And yes, you can do a lot of this stuff. Most of our reconditioning we do in trucks, we do ourselves now. Now there's mm-hmm. things that we can pay, like it doesn't pay for us to do the stuff that Rocky does. Because he can put a bushing in 5 seconds. It takes us 5 days to put one in. He got the right tools. He knows how to do it, and he gives us a good price. But there's things that we do. I mean, we're revamping a truck right now for a new owner that we got. I mean, Chris took the entire interior part. We're saving that guy a ton of money, and doing a better job. And Chris is rewiring the dash and all this stuff we've learned by just doing it. And anybody can buy another pickup. I did not buy another pickup. Anybody can learn how to do anything. Look, I told you guys about a couple books a few weeks ago. There's one book where you can listen. You can be a world-class violinist if you're willing to spend 10,000 hours to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I'm not saying you have to be a mechanic, but if you just invest a little time in watching people, some tools, trying it, you'll figure out that a lot. Let me tell you something. Those guys with their certificates on the wall, they have nothing on you. Okay. You're smarter than most of them. And by the way, you care more because it's your stuff. They could give a rat's ass less about your stuff. All right. So absolutely, do your own stuff. But do the best you can. And when stuff you can't do, watch and learn. Ask questions. So did I buy another pickup? It's a little. I'm just glad.
I'm glad to know they remember that story.
Somewhere along the way, I told that story. That's what freaks me about this. Okay, because you guys come back with things that I don't. I'm like, how do you know that? It's because I've revealed my life story in the 160 episodes here. But no, I did not buy another pickup in Vegas. Thank you. I didn't bring anything back from Vegas I didn't take. Okay. Well, I did bring some money back that I didn't take. I did do that. So. But when working or driving a truck, how do you calculate your salary? Well, everybody has we talked about this yesterday.
Well, there's two things. There's two different conversations. One is if you're operating a business and you are the operator of that business, the IRS demands that if you're going to pay yourself a salary, it has to be reasonable. Meaning, what would you have to pay someone to do that job? Right.
If you didn't do it, what would you pay someone else to do it? That's the IRS's definition of reasonable.
Right. Now, on the other side of that, more practical answer, okay, Chris Dolan charges $110 an hour, okay, at his shop. Now, he's got a business. He's got payroll. He's got electric. He's got, he has a lot of business expenses that he has to pay out of that $110 that you don't, right? So you have to value your own time. What's this worth to me? Is it $10 an hour? Is it $25 an hour? Is it $50 an hour? That's kind of the practical answer to that. Just like towing, we're talking about how this towing thing. Well, the local record company here charges $185 an hour. So we're like, okay, well, we got a total. What are we going to charge? Well, we don't have the expenses that they do. So obviously we're not going to charge $185.
Plus we want to be easy on our customer because these trucks are owned by our strategic partners. So it doesn't do any good for us to charge them what a tow company would and not be a benefit to them. So what we're doing is it helps us and it's a win-win. It's actually a triple win because we're not losing the load. So, but you have to value it. You have to look at what's your time worth. And all these other things have to play into. The thing that most people do in this industry is they don't value their time enough because people they'll figure their cost per mile and not include themselves as the driver. Well, I'll just donate my time. No, you can't do that. You have to look at, if you didn't drive it, what would somebody pay you to drive it? So I just think that you have to put a value on your time, and that's what you have to charge. Now, it's a double-edged sword. That is a business expense to the business, but it's also an expense to you as revenue individually. Mm-hmm. So it's not really going to save you that much money tax-wise. It's going to pay it either way. But it does give you the control of doing it yourself. And you could. Here's the other thing. Somebody said, "Well, why can't you just put a turbo on the apartment?" We could, but it wasn't a turbo. That's the problem. Okay, we could put a turbo on, but it wasn't a turbo. So at 1 o'clock in the morning last night, we didn't have the wherewithal to make that diagnosis on the spot. So we brought it back. We did the diagnosis here today when we had equipment. We had a clear mind. Everybody's rested up. The load's being delivered. We find out it's not a turbo. It's a fuel pump. So we would have wasted $2,000 or $3,000 last night putting a turbo on in the parking lot.
And the turbo's 8 weeks old. Also, we just put a
turbo on it, right? So, Larry, the 1099. We probably need to put that on there. The 1099 busters. We're going to get back pay once they're employed.
Well, now read that because there's going to be people listening to this on audio.
I'm sorry. So, Larry, do 1099 busters (parentheses whistleblowers) get back pay once their employer is fined by the IRS? Not necessarily. What they do get, though, is their employer has to pay both sides of the employee the FC taxes. So, in other words, if you're being paid a 1099 and you challenge that, then you're reclassified as a W-2 employee. The employer that paid you that way has to pay now your taxes and theirs both, and there's a penalty to him and interest. I've not heard of there being a reward to you in terms
You're not
of
really out anything.
your back pay wasn't affected. It's the fact that you don't have to pay your own taxes now. So that is a big, and that's a big motivator. Okay, because you guys that are working on 1099, you're voluntarily paying 7.62% of your employers. That's the guy who you're working for that's paying you on 1099 taxes for him. Okay. So now here they come. I know we're going to have to fight this battle again, but fuck y'all. Okay, we're not going to. If you're 1099, you're a moron. Okay, you can justify it any which way you want to. You're just a complete moron. And I got plenty of video out there to and if you want to discuss it among yourselves, but I'm not participating anymore. So, but that's how it. But yes, if you drop a dime on an employer and you do the little thing, I forget the word of the form, Chris. I've said it 100 times. There's a SS4. No, anyway, you can Google, but it's an SS form. You do that, and they start looking at this employer's thing. First of all, if he's paying you, he's probably paid a bunch of people over the years, and it will put him out of business. Okay, but don't feel sorry for him. He's screwing you to begin with. He screwed everybody that ever worked for him. Yeah. Right. So
I'm gonna jump in and answer a TikTok question. There's no way, brother. I'm gonna even try.
What is it, Chris?
Gursavok Singh Malhi. I apologize deeply for butchering your name.
Can you bring it on the screen or not?
No, it's a TikTok.
Okay.
Anyways, asking about a 14-liter Detroit that has a hard time starting after 12 hours of sitting. Any ideas?
I have lots of ideas.
Lots of ideas. One would be there on the back of the head.
Check valve.
There's a check valve. And if that check valve fails, it will allow the fuel to drain back out of the head, and then you have a hard time starting. It could be anywhere in, and I'll tell you one, we chased one on Larry's truck forever, and it ended up being a little brass T, had the tiniest little hole rubbed in it, and it was just enough to allow that fuel to drain down and leak out. And
it was a T in the return line.
Yeah.
But something's letting that fuel pressure leak off. So there's several things you can check. We thought there was a crack in the fuel filter housing that could have done it. The check valve is the most obvious, most common thing. Fuel pump is a more common thing. Check real good. Make sure your DAFCO housing's not got a crack in it.
And also, okay, now let me think about this because I don't want to sound like an idiot. Somebody told me one time, and if you're having this problem, take your truck and park it somewhere nose down. Okay. with the front bumper low. Okay. If you do that and you don't lose prime, it's the check valve.
Exactly.
But if you park it uphill and it does it, it's the check valve. And if you park it downhill and it does it, it's an injector.
And we thought that was bullshit, but that is not. 100%. That is one. That covered John Range, didn't it?
The Volvo, we had a bad injector.
Yeah.
And if you parked it uphill, it wouldn't lose prime. But if you parked it downhill with the nose lower, it was an injector leaking off and letting the prime go.
Right. And
of course, we had fuel dilution in the oil sample.
Then we find, is John the one to tell us about that?
It was John or Bill. Might have been Billy, but somebody told us that. And it's kind of logical because it's just gravity. If that check valve is the fuel is going to, because the head is up here and the fuel tanks are down here. So the fuel is going to flow in whatever direction gravity. But one way to test it, park it nose up. If it drains off, it's the check valve. Park it nose down. If it drains off, it's an injector.
Let me say this about, we mentioned John a couple of times. Here's another, I'm going to admit, this is a marketing ploy I'm going to give you right here. But here's a guy, okay, that comes to our event 2 years ago, all right, as a brand new BCO, all right. He'd been a Detroit technician for 30 years, 20 some odd years, and decided to get into the driving side. Do you know the wealth of knowledge he brought to that event? And everybody there who networked with him that night, and I think he came again last year, didn't he?
And he fixed it. Well, Kerry's truck.
He fixed people's trucks there. I mean, that's the networking part of this. That there's no price to put on that. You know, sharing the information and knowledge that people have with each other in that environment where everybody there is not. I mean, look, people who are going to come to that, they're not the guys that you're parked next to right now at the truck stop. Okay, understand that. So it's going to be all lunatic go-getter types here, and they're all going to have things to share. I mean, look, we got Phil right here. There's people here that have so many years of experience that are willing to share with you if you just get in the network. And you get in the network by attending on August 19th and 20th here in Hurricane and being a part of that weekend that will change your business life. I promise you, in the first 6 hours on Friday, or on Saturday, I mean, you'll learn enough to pay more than pay for the price of attending. So, what do you call that? What I just did? There's a term for that. Some kind of a.
I'm too tired. My brain's about 30% shut off. There's a guy in
shameless plug.
So there's a guy on the TikTok thread said I know I've lost it, but basically 90% of Landstar owner operators are failing. Well, I want to use that because Evan is one of our drivers.
By the way, Evan, it's past your bedtime. You should not be up here right now.
How do you know starting out who's answering questions truthfully and who's holding your hand through shit? Well, let's take this 90% of owner operator, 90% of Landstar owner operators are failing. Okay. Number one, where is your statistical evidence for that? We do know that there is statistical evidence that 38%, is it 38? 38% do leave Landstar in 6 months. And if you come lease a truck on a Landstar within 60, when the first 6 months, there's a 38.4% chance that you're not going to be here in 6 months.
That number's a year old. That's probably a lot more than that this year.
Oh, it probably is.
Because of the rate environment.
But let's say, for example, that that's true. 90% of Landstar owner operators are failing. That has nothing to do with Landstar.
No.
Zero. It has absolutely nothing to do with Landstar, because you could lease on a probably 1991, I think, is when Detroit started with electronic engines. As long as your truck has an electronic engine and you can plug an ELD into it, you can lease it to Landstar.
There's a Facebook post right now that most people are shitting on of this old wooden looking truck.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, that picture comes around every once in a while.
Right.
And Ira Ford's the
it's a wooden truck. It looks like a Lego truck.
Wicked Intent Semi on TikTok and Instagram. He finally bumped into it. And of course, I mean, his truck looks like something out of Mad Max, right? And so, of course, he loved it. I mean, he was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. But if it'll hook to a fifth wheel, you can lease it on Landstar. Okay. So you can have no payment at Landstar, or as we talked about before, you can have a $6,000 a month payment and bring a truck to Landstar. Somebody explained to me how you having too much debt and being over leveraged has anything to do with Landstar. It doesn't.
And it doesn't. So Chris, I gotta disagree with you. Why, if that is true, if the 90% is true, then why are the 10% succeeding if it's Landstar?
Correct.
What makes 10% be successful and 90% be unsuccessful? If that number is correct, which I doubt it is. Because the thing I like a lot about Landstar, there's a lot of I know quite a few that don't make it anywhere. They have no business being in business. They got nothing to do with Landstar. They could be at Swift,
dude. Okay. How many have we had? We've had probably 5 that came to our program that were failed BCOs. None of them have made it. Not one.
Right.
Now, we have people come here that have not been BCOs, that have made it through the whole program, have bought a truck, have moved on, done their own thing, right? But every single one of these, of course, we have a standing no BCO, no former BCOs policy that is absolutely not worth the paper it's written on, because one of them will come and sing us a sad story, and the last one was, I'm going to be the one. I'm going to be the one that makes it.
Yeah.
It was a former BCO that abandoned the truck in Wisconsin, and I had to take my fat ass up there and drag it home. Right? It has so they failed in business, and then they find us. They watch the podcast and whatever. Oh man, these guys?
I want to do it. I want to do it differently. I want to do it the right way this time.
Listen,
until they find out the right way involves working.
Right.
Okay, because the right way, we don't have a secret handshake and like a ring or a decoder ring. When you come here, all of a sudden, Landstar opens up and it's easier for you. You just have to come here and work. And they're refusing to do that. So here's the thing about this, Chris, okay? You know quite a few people that listen, 90% of people who buy trucks for the first time fail. That's quite a few. If you know anybody knows a truck, quite a few of those are not going to make it anywhere. Is it the truck? Is it the company they're working for? Is it, or maybe it's just them? You know why he's with me right now? You know why? It's because when he failed twice of his own accord, his own stupidity, he went on Facebook one night in the middle of the night, frustrated, and he made a confession. He said, you know what? I failed, and it's got nothing to do with Landstar. It's got nothing to do with the government. It's got nothing to do with rates. It's got nothing to do with price of fuel. I failed because I ran my business stupidly. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, whoa, I don't usually see that very often from a truck driver, from a male, much less a truck driver. And it caught my attention because people don't admit that, because it's never their fault. We've never had anybody here that left the program because it's their fault. Okay, never. It's always, well, you guys are lunatics, or this or that, or that. I didn't know it's going to be like that. I didn't, because what it comes down to is just having to do the work, and having to be efficient with your time. There's a bunch of people that aren't going to make it to Landstar. There's a bunch of people that should never go to Landstar. And let me back up and say this: we're not a recruiting arm of Landstar. I could give a rat's ass. I prefer you not come to Landstar. Actually, okay, we're not trying to get you to come to Landstar. All right. We're here because that's where we want to be. But we're here because we like the fact that it is a level playing field, and that when I come to Landstar, I get the same start. I get the same stuff at the same orientation as everybody else did. And here I am now, 12 years in. We're going to do about $5 million worth of business this year. And I did that because of me, not because of Landstar. And the next guy that comes here sitting in the orientation next to me doesn't make it 3 weeks. Is that Landstar? Or is that me? So I disagree with you completely. Landstar is just the opportunity. Here it is. You can bitch about the load board, you can bitch about the trailers, you can do all that kind of stuff, because that's just an excuse to cover up how poor of a business person you are and how poor of a problem solver you are. Okay, and how you really shouldn't probably be in business anyway, because at Landstar there's no support network here. All right. You're expected to come here and be a business doing business with a business. And most people who come here and fail are coming here because they need somebody to work for that will give them entitlement, that will give them that golden parachute to pick them up when they make bad decisions. That's not what business is. This is the big boy league. Okay. This is where you come and either you make it or you leave. Mm-hmm. And it's completely up to you. Has nothing to do with Landstar. Landstar does not favor one. They could care less. As long as you're compliant, they could care less. So,
all right, I've got a guy, David, on TikTok. All right, everybody buckle up. David says he's a broker. Every single time I book a load with Landstar, I find the load reposted on DAT 5 minutes later. Why? Now,
well, before we start, okay, understand something, David. We are not agents. We're not broke. I used to be an agent. I voluntarily gave that up because I hated working with drivers. But understand that we are owner operators at Landstar. We don't speak for Landstar. I can't possibly tell you the answer to that. I have an idea because I know how this works.
Right.
But you're not going to like the answer because it's the same question that the BCOs at Landstar ask about why a load's posted on the load board 5 times. Okay.
So here here's my perspective as someone who books 50 to 50 to 60 loads a week with Landstar agents. Okay. I would say the numbers are 85 or 90% of the loads that I book are direct to shipper, meaning the agent knocked on the door, signed the customer up, and it is a 100% Landstar agent to customer to BCO load. All right. That other 10 or 15% I fill in with brokered loads. Could be CH Robinson, could be TQL, could be Jim Bob's brokerage, could be you, right, David? Okay. Now, if I was the king of the world, I think maybe if I had the magic wand, maybe I would create some policy that said that if a CH Robinson load is booked by a Landstar agent, it can only go on a BCO. Now, the problem here is we all have these solutions we come up with. Well, we'll do this will fix it. Okay. The problem is, and my personal opinion is that a Landstar agent should not book a load with you and put it on a board. That shouldn't happen. They shouldn't do that. Now, am I going to stop them? No. Is Landstar going to stop them? Probably not. But we have people, and this is the part I don't understand, and I would love to talk to some people who are approved carriers with Landstar. I haven't met any yet. That's one area of expertise and experience that I do not have, but I would love to talk to some people that have gone through the process to become an approved carrier with Landstar. And from what I've told, and what I've been told by agents, direct agents, is that it's not, you can't just have a pulse and be approved. You have to be approved. Okay. So from this side of the table, I see people that go through the process to become qualified and approved to pull Landstar freight. And then one of the agents, I guess, would get a load, say, from CH Robinson, and then book it with that approved carrier. I don't completely understand it. And I don't know that it's a deal where they think that like the BCO and the approved carrier are kind of on the same plane. But I can tell you this, based on my experience, if I was on my own right now, and
by my own, you mean on your own authority?
Yeah, if I had my own numbers, and I went through the process to bring an approved carrier with Landstar, I would be very, 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 very selective with what loads I booked from Landstar, because there are direct agents that have some killer freight, as has been evidenced by the numbers that we're doing. In the month of May, we did $3.28 per loaded mile for the fleet. So our contract freight is still really good right now when the spot market is in the garbage.
Well, I've got a question about this. Okay.
Yeah.
So David says every time he books a load with Landstar, it gets posted on the DAT thing 5 times. If the load's booked, why does it matter?
Why does it matter? Here's why I think it would matter. I think it would matter to David. Okay, David, you can respond to this. It would matter to David because if the Landstar agent takes David's load, and maybe David has knocked on the door, signed up the customer, like we've talked with Anik, and then a Landstar agent puts it on the load and says, "Oh, this is a Landstar load." Well, no, it's not. It's David's load, or it's Anik's load, or it's whoever's load.
Gotcha.
And then they get some crackerhead. And listen, I hate to break this to y'all, but Landstar's got some crackerhead BCOs. So crackerhead BCO gets a hold of it and alienates or pisses off the customer, doesn't show up on time.
I got you. So,
well, now David is trying to answer to the customer, why did you get this crackerhead? Well, I didn't get the crackerhead. Landstar got the crackerhead.
Yeah, back's listening.
Right.
Well, here again, and let me say, I can't speak for Landstar. Number one, I don't really care, David. I don't mean that in a derogatory way, But I don't. That doesn't affect me. I can't fix Landstar. I can't fix the government. There's a lot of things I can't. That doesn't mean I just give up and quit. Okay, I still do my thing every day. I just don't let that bother me. I mean,
Right.
I just don't. You know, if you don't work with those agents, I mean, there are 1,400 agents here. We got some really good ones. We got some shitty ones. Okay, and the only way you know that is working with them. So I mean, I apologize for them. But here's the thing about it. Okay, the next question: what's Landstar going to do about it? I can tell you right now, nothing. Because again, it's the free market. Okay, if there's not anything illegal about what they're doing, there's nothing that they're going to do about it. Okay.
Well, here and so David's got two responses here, and I love them. Okay, he says it's because we don't have transparency on who is taking it. We think it's a Landstar truck. All right, that's an excellent point. And I have had it.
You can fix that.
And it's only happened maybe 3 or 4 times that we've had to send a picture.
David, you can fix it. Require the person who books the load to send a photograph of them in front of their truck. Okay.
Which they could probably.
We have gotten that request more than once because of what you're talking about.
But he said, here's the next one. All right. And you'll see where I'm going. No verification of insurance, authority, reputation, etc. Well, I've got good news. Blockchain's going to end all that. I 100% believe with every fiber of my being that blockchain is going to end double brokering once and for all. It's going to end chameleon carriers, these dirt bags that run over a minivan full of kids, and then they just go change their number and open up the real transparency, because that's been such a buzzword over the last few months. The real transparency is going to come when the entire freight network runs on an immutable ledger.
Right.
And if you're a dirtbag piece of shit,
everybody's going to know.
You'll never be able to get that stain off of you.
Right.
And if, on the other hand, you are a reputable carrier and you've got this, you're dragging along with you all of this data that says, hey man, they show up on time and they do everything right. But because if you really think about it and you go back to 1980, so for the past 43 years, we have been polishing a dog turd. Right. And we have been trying to shine up this dog turd that is this decentralized network. The problem is, if you try to centralize it again, good luck pushing the button on your phone to get Amazon delivered in 2 days. It's not going to happen.
I think, David, the problem is the agents that you're working with are probably some that they're probably double booking your loads. There's no question about it, which that is illegal. But you can request that they send you a picture of the truck that's going to haul it. If it's not a Landstar truck, pull the load back off of it.
Well, and I'll tell you this. Well, it depends on. This is a guess, okay? But here's one thing that I know. Landstar truck numbers start with a 4
or a 5.
Or a 5. If it starts with a 4, it's an Inway truck. If it starts with a 5, it's a Ranger truck. And it's 6 digits. Now, I did see a Ranger truck the other day that started with a 6.
Yeah.
That's the first time I've seen it.
And I have seen some 5-digit trucks.
I would tell you that if you book a load with a Landstar truck and the truck number is not 6 digits and doesn't start with a 4 or a 5, you're not dealing with a BCO, period. Because it doesn't matter. If our trucks, every one of our truck numbers starts with a 4.
Another thing is we have agents that we have broker freight where the broker requires a contact directly with the driver prior to booking the load. So I think these are some things you could put into play to protect yourself a little bit better.
And doesn't Landstar give customers access to Landstar Connect, the tracking?
Yes. Landstar.
No, Landstar Connect. It's still Connect, which sucks, by the way, but it is what it is. I mean, because here's David, this is hilarious. I see, we'll book a third-party load, and they want us to use Micropoint, which I completely understand because they want to know where the damn load's at. And these BCOs, oh, how dare they? I'm like, dude. They're like, well, I've got Landstar Connect. Okay, but what if the customer doesn't have access? We're back to this decentralized nature of things, right? if you don't have access to my track, I got Verizon on all my trucks. Well, you don't have my Verizon login. You can't see my tracking data. So if you want to know where my truck is, and that's part of the deal, and we can use MicroPoint or Navisphere or whatever the hell it's called. Well, absolutely. I couldn't care. I could care less. It doesn't matter to me because I understand the customer, the person paying the bill, absolutely 100% has a right to know. I think the question would be good for us to ask, and maybe since we have this platform, is to say, hey, Landstar, what do you have available? Is this truck number thing good enough? How can David be how can David be assured that he's dealing with a BCO and not an approved carrier? I would think there would have to be something in the paperwork that would say that. Because, like, for example, when you look at a Landstar freight bill that we get to see, you're as a broker or third party, you're not going to get to see that. But it literally says Blue Ribbon Logistical Solutions, the truck number,
driver's
name, driver's phone number,
trailer number.
Well, so that's not a concrete thing, because Blue Ribbon Logistical Solutions is a fleet leased to Landstar, but we don't have our own number, right? I've got to think that there has to be something to get you that transparency that you want. David says, do you have any questions to a TQL broker? Yeah, David, why are you evil? Why is TQL evil? Why does everybody listen? I've been hosed by a customer, and I know 100% it was the customer. Okay, I deadheaded a guy 350 miles at Travis probably 2 months ago. Deadheaded him 350 miles. Now, there wasn't jack shit else to do. Okay, and found this load out of upstate New York. It was a complete cluster. He got there. The customers were morons. The shipper, they were complete idiots. You could tell that they were the problem. But the broker, it was brokered through TQL. Now, why we're not going to blame the shipper for being morons and we have to blame TQL because they're on it? I'm not a broker hater. I'm not.
Well, here, I get back to my point. Okay, I can't change it. It's like Man of La Mancha, the adjusting the windmills. I can't fix that. So I just don't. I don't let it affect me. We just find another load. We find another broker. We don't deal with that agent anymore. We just, somebody made a comment a while ago. Is there a database agent can tap into that will tell the quality or service rate of drivers and truckers and BCOs?
No.
Kinda. There is a service. If there's a service failure on that BCO, it will show up in the profile, but the agent has to go through several pages to get that. Yeah. It's not easy to find.
And you pretty much got to murder somebody to get a service failure. I mean, it's really difficult. You've got to really do something stupid to get a service failure.
It's just not easy to do business. Okay. It's like BCOs that come to Landstar, and working with a load board is not easy. Well, fix it. There's no fix for that. Business is hard. People who make it because they can solve a problem solve. It's the same thing here. There's no fix for this. You're just going to have to be able to work around, make a solution to work around it. I don't know what that's going to be. It's not my wheelhouse. My wheelhouse is taking company drivers and teaching them how to not fail as owner operators. That's what I do. Everything else here, I can only give you my opinion or point you in the right direction. I can't fix it. So, anyway.
And I'm going to say this too. When I get a cold call, and it's some dude with an Eastern European accent, I cannot automatically say no. Hell, I booked one today. I booked a cold call today. The guy called me. He was like, "Hey, I see your load. Your driver's 80 miles from here, and it's picking up here and going there, and this is what it pays." And I'm like, "Book it." He sent me a freight bill. I have no idea who the broker is. Well, I can probably look. Well, no, not always. I can't always look at our documentation and even know who the broker is. There's one agency, I can't remember which one it is. It's not Taylor. But anyway, they send the broker's rate con in the email.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Every single time.
Right.
But I'm going to tell you, 80% of the time when I book what I know is a third party load, it's not a direct load. I have no idea who the broker is. I don't have the broker's name. I don't have their phone number. I have no contact to them. I have that agent. That agent is my go-between. That agent is my customer. They are my contact point. And if there's a problem, I've got to say, hey, shit's going down. You need to call the broker. And then they call the broker, and occasionally I'll get a call from a broker that's like, hey, checking on the ETA or whatever it is. And look, and I've lost, and it sucks. I've lost loads before. Here's a great one. I had a guy call me one day, and he goes, oh, I'm trying to think of the order here because it's important. But anyway, I end up on the phone with this broker, and the agent is trying to book this load, and the guy's not interested. I'm like, well, hang on a minute. I'm 100% a BCO truck. Who is it? All right, what's your MC number? My dumbass gives him the DOT number because I don't know that Landstar Inway's MC number, right? So my ignorance of not knowing the difference between the MC and the DOT, I gave him the DOT number, and he's like, well, that's coming up as, Billy's trucking. I'm like, no, that's Landstar. I had no idea. I had to go look up Inway's MC number. Well, now I've got it written down on my desk. Still don't have it memorized. But I wish in a lot of cases there was a simpler way to do things. But that's the thing about being in business. Not everything is simple. Not everything is going to go your way. And so when you're planning on going into business, you can't put yourself in a position where everything's going to work out as long as everything works out.
Right.
Because you're going to break your ankle. You're going to have a breakdown. You're going to get hit like that guy on TikTok the other day that got hit twice in 5 minutes. They got both sides of his truck. He was losing his shit, and I'd have been mad too.
Yeah, like once you can't make that $6,000 truck payment. What do you do then?
Yeah.
So there's a comment here that we get all the time, and I'm going to have to go there. Okay.
Which one?
David.
Oh, this
Adam Sharp.
Adam Sharp. Oh, what states do you try to stay away from?
No. Before that, it's you're going to love it. Something's got to be done about these brokers.
Go ahead.
Well, first of all, what we're going to do, okay? Because the fix that you're looking for has a lot of unintended consequences that you don't like.
Yep.
Okay. Because what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And I point to all the things you hate about FMCSA, all the things you hate about DOT, all the things you hate about ELD and law. Just look at all of them. All those were fixes that we look to the government for to fix. And that's the only place you're going to look to, because your buddies are up there in Washington, D.C. stomping around up there and trying, making noise up there now to try to figure out what to do about these brokers. And there's nothing you're going to do about the brokers, okay? Because fixing that is going to put limitations on you that you're not going to like. Because there's no way you're going to be able to restrict somebody else's business and then not have your own restricted. It's like you want socialism for other people, but not for yourself. And it's never going to happen. That fix is not what you want. It sounds good, and it might be very selfishly advantageous for you until it happens to you. And then you look up and go, well, what do you mean I can only make $2.50 a mile? Well, I'm capped at that. Why? Well, because somebody went to the same problem-solving agency that you did, the government, and that's what the solution was. So be careful what you ask for. There's no fix for that. This is a free market. Everybody has the choice of doing business with who they want to do business with. And if it's not who you like, find somebody else. There's 100,000 brokers out there, okay? If you can't find 5 of them that you can do business with, find something else to do. But you're not going to change that to make it easy for you. Business is not easy. Business is difficult. That's why most people fail, all right? And the people who don't fail are the ones that don't have to have somebody come fix it for them.
And I've seen lots of drivers say, we don't need brokers. That is 100% accurate.
True.
You don't need brokers.
As long as you know what they do and you can replace that.
But shippers do need brokers. Shippers want brokers. And until there is a better system provided by the market and not by the government, until there is a better system for shippers, shippers are going to continue to use brokers because it's what's best for them. They are not going to put people on payroll to find trucks. They're not going to create departments of people to find trucks. They're not going to pay the health insurance and the sick leave and all of the stuff that comes with having more departments and more people when they can call someone who has all those costs and get them to find the trucks for them. They are uninterested. Now, if you are a good salesperson, which I'm not, okay, I would rather take an ass whipping than to go on sales calls to try to book customers. No, thank you. I'm going to go build a relationship, okay? But what we have got to avoid is this association by identity or identity by association. Well, I'm one of those, and therefore I'm righteous. And they're one of those, and they're evil. That's horseshit. Okay. You're not good and virtuous because you're a truck driver. You're not good and virtuous because you're this religious denomination. You're not good and virtuous because you live in this state and not that state. Your association has nothing to do with your value in the marketplace. Your value in the marketplace is determined by one thing, and that is the level of service that you provide. Period.
I didn't hear any of those guys screaming in 2021.
No.
Transparency. It's again, guys. It's very obvious what the problem is here. Okay, people, there are fingernails scratching down the porcelain of the toilet. Okay, you can hear them scratching. This is just a desperate attempt to prolong the inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you can't stay in business in the marketplace, you're not going to be able to modify the marketplace for you to stay in business. Okay, by regulating somebody else because you want them to be regulated. There's no reason for that. This transparency thing, that's just a bunch of bullshit. All right. You have no right to that. That isn't even the regulation. If you understand the contract law part of that, you're not a party to that. So, educate yourself in the business in your industry, because it's not going to happen what you're looking for. And if it does happen, if you cry and whine and bitch enough that the government throws you a bone, write it down right now. Larry said you'll regret it, because you will.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what I see as the advantage being a fleet manager, somebody that books a shitload of freight every day and every week. The advantage of being a Landstar is, I essentially say no to thousands of loads every day, because I look and I'm like, nope, don't want that. Oh, I like that one. Call, is it available? Yeah, book it. It's not available. Okay, thank you. Move on to the next thing. There's no emotion in it. I don't curl up in the fetal position and cry because I call an agent and they tell me a load's not available, or it's already been booked, or it's covered, whatever. Okay, thanks. Move on. But the Landstar Facebook groups are filled with people that absolutely lose their mind if they see a load posted on the board. They call the agent and the agent says it's covered, and they're like, "How dare they? Just move on with your life. Just move on with your life and find something else to do." But you're not going. I'm not demanding Landstar change the board, because I know how to use it. And instead of learning how to use it, instead of going to someone experienced, like what Chris was saying, Chris Sarver was talking about, find somebody, find a mentor, find someone that's been doing it a while. But no, what do? We go on Facebook and bitch and whine and complain like a bunch of teenage girls,
and want to blame it on another part of the business. Here, look, our success at Landstar is because of our relationship that we build with agents. We don't have brokers at Landstar. Landstar is the broker. We deal with agents, okay? we how many, what, 80% direct freight, pretty much.
Yeah, 85, 90 probably.
We have that because we treat those agents, brokers in your all's world, if you're out there with your own authority, as our customer. We don't get on Facebook and call them every which name in the book and demand that they be regulated and all this stuff. That's who we serve. If you guys understand this, it would be a lot better for you. No, you took advantage of them in 2021 because you could, and now you're pissed because they're kind of the worm has turned, and now you don't want to. Now you only want when it's going your way. It doesn't work that way. You're failing because of your lack of ability to build a relationship. And I know that's a word we use all the time. Forget that. Use make friends. You fail because you can't make friends. You're probably a shitty person. Nobody probably likes you. But if you can't make friends, you can't have business relationships. Okay, friends mean you take more than you leave, or excuse me, you leave more than you take. That's what friends are. So if you try that approach, you might find out that the transparency is not necessary. Just do what you say you're going to do. Do it when you say you're going to do it, for the price that you're going to do it. And if there's a problem every once in a while, you can't get along, file for divorce. Go get another one. There's 100,000 of them out there. All right.
I just went to our spreadsheet. Last week, we did $3.38 per loaded mile. The week before that, we did, that was probably a shitty week because that was the holiday, I think. Still did 320 on a bad week. And let me do one more. And the week before that, we got 63. That's not right. 63. I hit the wrong button. 301. I mean, we're doing $3 plus per loaded mile every single week in this market when everybody's telling us that they're going out of business. Now, there's some poor person on TikTok.
I can't keep up with those guys.
Oh, it's hard.
Every time I look up, there's 48 new messages.
I don't agree with you. When you don't have regulation, you have corruption. Deregulation means corruption. Still doesn't mean you don't get scammed. You're speaking nonsense.
And there was no corruption during regulation?
Right.
Okay. Whatever.
Listen,
you're entitled to your opinion.
My best advice for you is to turn off the television and pick up a book or 12.
Yeah. Reading is very dangerous to your ignorance. Okay, so
go read Thaddeus Russell's Renegade History of the United States.
Look, it's easy to blame it. The easiest way to justify your situation is to blame other people. Okay, that's the number one problem that we have in this country. Is nobody wants to take accountability for themselves. That's and politicians are the worst. Okay, but if you would just do be the best you can be, and don't worry about the other things. All right. I can't look. I'm not sitting here saying Landstar's all this and all that. It's probably deserves every bad thing you say about it. Listen, I say bad things about it. All right. That's probably why I'll never win the truck. They don't feature me in the commercials because I'm not the guy who defends them every time. I call them like I see them, but that doesn't keep me from being successful in this at Landstar because I know how to make it work for me. Is there another place? I don't know. I don't care. I'm not looking for another place. This works for me. I make it work for me. I'm not trying to make Landstar fit me. I've learned how to navigate through Landstar. I'm pretty damn good at it. Okay. And we teach other people how to do that. You could come here and learn from us in a few months and go to Landstar and make 150, 200 grand a year pulling general freight where there's a door swinger. All right. In this market, we can teach you how to use Landstar to that advantage. Now, if you're all hung up because they might double broker load sometime, but then don't come. Just stay away. I don't want to come there because I hear the trailers suck. Well, don't come. That's not a problem. Do you hear me saying that? Has that kept us from doing $5 million this year because we pick up a bad trailer once in a while? No. You just learn how to work around things. Okay. That's how you're successful, and not blame other people and regulate other people and go, well, I'm not coming to Lacework because their load board sucks. Well, good, don't come, okay?
David on TikTok, you need to send me an email, brlspodcast at gmail.com. We need to get together. He asked this question. I love it. He says, hypothetically speaking, what sort of regulations would you want to see on brokers? None.
Zero.
That'd be
the same
zero.
I'd like to see on truck drivers.
Zero.
Truck, zero. I'd like to have zero regulations for everything.
I live for the day that gay, married, transgender, illegal aliens can protect their pot plants with a bazooka, an unlicensed, unregistered bazooka. Okay, because they're
be careful, dude.
Listen, what I'm getting tired of is we're told through the media and from politicians. Okay, well, you better let us regulate everything. These are the people on Epstein's list. Okay. No, I don't believe anything you say about anything ever. No. The answer is no. Should the government? No. That's the answer. Should the government do this? No. Should they do that? No. Because if you'll just step back for a second and look at the breadth of the trucking industry over the last, let's go 30 years, and ask one question: who benefits? Who benefits from emissions regulations? Who benefits from safety regulations? Who benefits from hours of service regulations? It's not the 85% of the industry that runs trucks, the fleets of less than 6. 15% of the industry is all these giant carriers. 15%. Hell, there was a guy on What the Truck last week said there's 7 or 8%. Who benefits? It's not us. It's never us. We never benefit from these regulations. It's always some giant ass corporate conglomeration. They're the ones that can afford the cost of these new trucks. They're the ones that can afford the cost of the break-ins. They're the ones that can afford the cost of the ELDs. It's never the small business person. So the answer is no. No. If you want to know what to do with the regulations, take the entire U.S. code and light it on fire and just go to zero, and I'm fine. And release.
So, here's let me pick another scab. Y'all like to pick this broker scab. Let me pick this one for you. What should be done about these incompetent shops that we deal with?
Oh, God.
Somebody needs to fix that, okay? That's not, they charge $175 an hour. They should do shitty work, okay? They treat you like hell. They don't get you in. They make you sit in the parking lot and wait for 2 or 3 days at a time. They don't have any parts. Why are you guys not on top of this?
Mm-hmm.
Huh? Why are you not jumping up and down bitching about that? Where's the fix for that? Tell me what that fix is going to be.
Regulate the shop.
Tell me what that fix is going to be. Yeah, let's regulate the shop. This is just what you seized on because it's an easy target, and now you've made it so all truck drivers. Now it's kind of like this: the automatic enemy, drivers and brokers, people who should be working together because one's the other one's customer, and now we're like cats and dogs. Only because you guys can't run your own business successfully in the current market climate. Okay. So I'm gonna take yours so I can stay in business and screw you. That's really what it is. If you'll be honest with yourself, okay, and stop all the bullshit and quit worrying about what the guy next to you in the truck next to you is gonna say about you. Pull the curtains like you used to do with the CB and
talk trash.
Yeah. That's really what this comes down to.
All right. Benefits.
Now, you can hate me all you want to. I don't give a shit, okay? It doesn't bother me one bit. But be honest with yourself. Quit jacking yourself off, okay? Because all you're doing is making this thing confusing for you. You're the one that's confused. Spend that energy working on your business so you can be successful in this market. We're successful in this market. Our cost per mile is $1.58, okay? Work on that. By the way, if you want to learn how to do that, August 19th and 20th. Hurricane, West Virginia, $100 off if you sign up between now and July 1st. And we'll teach you how to do that. Okay. And you can argue with me out in the parking lot all you want to. If you
I think we should have David come to the event. David, come on out to West Virginia, August 19th and 20th. We'll set up a boxing ring. The truck drivers and brokers can go at it.
But look, guys, just understand just quit fooling yourself. That's not your problem. You know, your problem is you need to have brokers, you know, that you work with that like you and you like them. And then you build up that trust and that friendship, and all these problems go away. You have to worry about transparency. We got them to call us. Hey, you got a truck in the area? You know?
Oh, my most favorite sentence in all of the English language is, "Hey, I wanted to call you before I posted this."
Right. That's what this building relationship term that everybody throws around. That's what it comes down to right now. Hey, I want to give you this low before I put it on the low board.
Why? And why would they do that?
Because we take care of them. Because last night we towed a truck home at our own expense to keep that customer's freight delivered on time. That's why. Mm-hmm. They never even knew there was a problem. That's why. Because we serve our customer. And so our customer in turn serves us. You want to know the secret of it? That's it. It's not, and all you Landstar BCOs, okay, you guys understand if you're free, the low board's not your problem, agents aren't your problem, brokers aren't your problem. Your problem is you aren't serving the customer. You're worried about everything else except the customer.
And let me say this, because you got to understand that one thing about Landstar is this program exists because people want to come to Landstar, right? But I promise you, with our business practices and the way that we operate a fleet, if we wanted to go get our own numbers, we'd kill it. We'd absolutely kill it. I know we would, because I know how to run a fleet. He knows how to run the back office. He knows how to account for every dime. We could absolutely kill it. But even setting the program part aside, we've done the math. There's no mathematical benefit that we have yet found.
No, don't go down that road. It's been 2 hours, and we've got to start another hour defending that. Somebody already asked a question. Should I get my own authority in the first 6 months? No,
I don't know. I don't think that's what he meant. I think was that.
Yeah, it was too. It was early on TikTok.
No, I think he was saying, "What do you think of authorities with less than 6 months?" I think that's what he was saying.
I don't think that really matters.
I don't either.
You buy authority, it's a year old. I think it starts over again. I might be wrong. Again, not my wheelhouse. So I shouldn't even be talking about
let me answer, since TikTok can't see any of the graphics. The event is going to be in Hurricane, West Virginia. We call it Hurricane.
It's spelled HERRKENN.
It's just like the storm. Hurricane, West Virginia. August 19th and 20th. You have rooms here at the Wingate by Wyndham, a fantastic hotel.
Beautiful hotel.
The event is $495 for a single admission. The rooms are
$99. All this is assuming that you book by July 1st.
Yeah.
The $495 goes to $395 if you book by July 1st.
If you book by July 1st, it's $395, and your hotel is $99. And if it's after, your hotel is $109 and $495, and then it's another $2. God, I can't remember. If you're a spouse,
$295 for a second person from the same truck or spouse.
Yeah. So if you bring a spouse or like a team driver, it's another $295. $100 discount using code lunatic at checkout. All this is on the event page at blueribbonlogistics.com/events. You can go there. You can find all about it. We got pictures from last year. If you have a truck and you would like an alignment by Rocky Rockefeller of North Florida, MD alignment, I'll probably work on that tomorrow.
It's open. You just paid for it.
Yeah. Chris wants it. So on Friday night, on the 18th, we will be doing this podcast from the next room in the Blue Ribbon Bar.
Right.
We're going to have a complete reception. We're going to have a bar. We're going to have a good time. We'll do the podcast live. Then the event will be Saturday and Sunday. But if you want to have your truck aligned or looked at, inspected by our people, you might be able to come in, a day or two early. We do the work there in the parking lot at the event center. It's a fantastic. It's called Valley Park Conference Center. It's like 2 miles away. So go to the website, blueribbonlogistics.com. David says, is it free if he has to fight a driver? We'll give you a.
Depends on who the driver is.
Yeah.
Depends on how it works out.
Well, David, what's funny about that is last year when we decided to do this event at this venue, I went and talked to this lady, and she gives me a tour of the whole place. And we get within 3 or 4 weeks of the event, and I called the venue, and they're like, "What are you talking about?" Because this lady didn't write nothing down.
And we sold it out.
So the poor guy that was running the whole thing, he's now trying to clean up this mess. Dude, we get there, and the damn World Wrestling Federation is set up in the next room. Because he had said on the phone, he was like, "Well, listen, I know y'all want to have a class Saturday night, but I don't think you can handle the noise." I'm like, "Noise? What's he talking about?" We get there, dude. It's wrestling everywhere.
There's a wrestling ring.
An entire wrestling ring, literally in the next room.
And all the merchandise and all the. It was a zoo.
It was wild.
So, and in the week after we left, they had a Christmas wedding in July. There, he knew nothing about.
Yeah,
he had to come up with.
He found out about that about a week before the event. So anyway,
this year we got it all to ourselves. We think so.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's two. It's 2 full days of how to stay in business in this market. Okay, and when you survive this market, how to be more profitable when things get back like they're supposed to be. Just face it, you wouldn't be in a situation right now if you had made and saved money back when you could. Now you can't do it, and now you're worried. So let's just let us teach you how to be in business, how to get in business, how to stay in business, and it's 2 full days with us. We've got some special guests. Rocky asked about those. Rocky, the only ones we have confirmed right now are you, Chris Dolan, Larry Cothran, and we think Anik, but she's got a calendar she's got to get with me about. So we got some others I'm working on. We got a few more I'm working on.
So yeah. Well, how long we got? Only an hour and 46. I'm getting ready to go to bed because it's been a long.
Let's talk about our sponsor, Pittsburgh.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me before we do that.
Excuse me.
I have a Carl update.
Okay, yeah, please do.
So, Carl's wife posts. So, for those to TikTok, you probably don't know what I'm talking about. But Carl is a mechanic that we use forever. The single greatest living mechanic I've ever known. Carl has a condition called alpha-1. It's a genetic problem that attacks the lungs, and he is about 40 miles from here, laying in a bed on a ventilator. And he needs a double lung transplant. And so last week, he was in very critical condition, and they finally decided to do what's called a bolectomy, where they go into the lungs and they do something that I don't understand. And so anyway, he's doing some better. He's still in critical condition. He still needs a double lung transplant. So on the YouTube, there is a QR code on YouTube and Facebook. There's a QR code that you can scan that will take you to Carl's GoFundMe. On TikTok, if you go to our page, there's a link in bio, and there's a link in there to Carl's GoFundMe. It's tough.
I understand, man. Carl's he's a special guy. There'll never be another Carl. The guy has just the work ethic, unbelievable. Never seen anybody in any industry with the work ethic that Carl's got. And unfortunately, he's got this condition. He's a young man, and we just need to help him out, guys. Okay, so if you'll hit that QR code, anything you send them, they can use. Okay, because Nikki can't quit her job because she loses her health insurance. She can't be with him. It's pretty sad. So if Carl's ever done anything for you, saved you any money or did anything for you, help him out. Okay, it's time to pay him back. All right. So, and you guys that don't know him, if we can get him through this, I promise you, it's the best mechanic in the planet. All right.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that he can't fix and nothing he can't diagnose. There's nothing he won't do for you. We've got stories and stories and stories and stories and stories about how he worked for TA here in Hurricane, and they didn't understand what they had, and eventually he got enough courage to go out on his own, and then all of a sudden he gets hit with this condition. So anyway, if you can help him out, it'd be great, and we appreciate it. Now, Pittsburgh Power, it was our sponsor last year. They have renewed, so we're looking forward to another year of Pittsburgh Power and their relationship. Appreciate it if you give them a call and let them know that you thank them for being the sponsor and bringing this to you every week. We carry the fuel catalyst and the OPS products here in West Virginia. By the way, we'll have those at the event. All the other diesel performance products, you call them and let them know that you're one of our customers, and they'll take good care of you, okay? And but we do appreciate what they do for us to bring this to you every week. So
David, on TikTok, if you go to our bio or our page, the link in bio has everything. It has email, website link, everything's there. You just click the button and it'll go straight to our email. So it's there in the link in bio.
It's very easy. It's Larry at BlueRibbonLogistics.com or Chris at BlueRibbonLogistics.com or it's BRLS Podcast at
the one that we have linked is BRLS Podcast, which keeps people out of our personal emails.
Right.
So,
any of them, we'll be happy to talk to you. All right, guys. So remember, we sold out last year. Okay, you get $100 off if you'll get on there between now and July 1st and get your seat reserved. Get your hotel room reserved. We got a block right now that they have other events this summer. They got sporting events, so we need to have a room for you. So make sure you get your hotel booked. If you need truck parking, there's a place to indicate that, and I'll make sure there's a truck parking spot for you.
Mm-hmm.
And other than that, we appreciate you, and we'll see you this coming Friday, back to our normal time. And you guys keep doing what you do out there. Make friends with a broker this week, okay?
Yeah, y'all do that.
Treat brokers a little bit better.
Oh,
all right, they're not your enemy.
Absolutely,
that's not your enemy. You're right. The economy is your enemy. Your cost per mile is your enemy, not the broker.
Your enemy is the guy you look at when you shave,
and we can help you fix that. Yeah, okay. If you'll let us. All right. Thank you. We'll see.